create, relate, erase the hate. Our memories, these things we make. Each stitch we take our time. We take each word, we make them rhyme. We on, we off, these floss we fraud. 2 men dissolve to walk the dog. We tune, we zoom, the room, the loom, the birds, the boughs, the stars, the moon.
Hi Flosstube, welcome to Stitching It. My name is Stephanie and I'm a cross stitcher outside of Atlanta, Georgia, and this channel is all about my hobby and love of all things needle and art related. Okay? So welcome, and this is going to be my very first update video of the year 2020, which means that I'm going to be showing some things from last year and also talk about my goals and plans for this year. So I'm glad you're here, and of course, let's get started. So I don't like to spend a whole lot of time on life updates, but we've had a really nice, quiet, cozy winter so far, and I haven't even really been to a stitchy get-together since like October, so I'm kind of itching to get out at this point. But of course I'm getting a lot of stitching done. In fact, last year I counted them up and I had a total of 15 finishes in 2019, which you have seen pretty much, on the channels at some point, or if you follow me on Instagram, which is at StitchingIt247, at StitchingIt247. I've shown them on there. So I'm just going to flash some pictures up of my finishes from this year. If you're interested in them, you can go back to the videos that I've already put out and find a little bit more about that. But like I said, I had 15 finishes for last year, which I thought was pretty good. The year before that I only had 7 or 8, I think, finishes, 8 finishes in 2018. So I'm on the climb, but once I analyzed what I had stitched, I only completed one big project. My biggest project, of course, was Birds to the Boughs, and then I had gradually some smaller and smaller projects, and which is fine, down to smalls. I just don't really care for them too much. So this year I'm trying to focus more on big projects rather than just breaking up my time with little projects, to finish. So I also only finished 2 last year that were carryovers from previous years. All the other finishes I had started and finished in the same year, 2019. So I don't want to have a lot more whips just sitting around over the years. So I'm going to try to make more of a priority to stitch older whips, But that's just a brief recap, okay? We're going to jump into 2020. And everything I have planned for that. So first I wanted to get one little finish out of the way that I completed over Christmas, and I just finished it as an ornament, pretty neat. I completed during my last speed stitching video over the holidays as a little Christmas tree, and I completed it into an ornament over Christmas. Using some materials I already had. They were actually all color and cotton stuff from last year, because I still had materials from the box from last year. But this is what it turned out like. This is the ornament I stitched, and I just finished it into a pillow with some cotton fabric. Like I said, it was from the box last year, and I put jingle bells on it. That was from the box from last year. And then finished it with some silk ribbon that came from the what was it called? The Stars and Stripes box from Color and Cotton. So I'm looking forward to getting some more mystery boxes this year. I hope that Angela is, doing well. I heard she had some health issues, and which is why we didn't get the box this year, but there was plenty of stuff in the box from last year, as far as I'm concerned, to get me through. little thing this year. So that was my only finish that I have had since October, which I was a little bit shocked about, but I've been working on, like I said, bigger projects that I want to finish. And, you know, I'm also trying to avoid just starting things off the cuff. You know, I want to plan out my starts more carefully and not just start them spontaneously. It's fine to go off on a tangent and get distracted, but I've done some analysis on these bigger projects that I have, and up until now I've just kind of been playing around in them. But then once I realized how much time and how much of my life is really going to go into completing them, you know, I've discovered that I really need to buckle down on those if I'm going to have a shot. So, I did a whip catalog, which I'll put a link to. I'll put a link up here. See if I can do that, okay? I'll put a link up there to the whip catalog, which was kind of like a whip parade. You know, I've done traditional hold up your whips whip parades before, and this one was a little bit different, where I was just trying to flash my starting points for that and some of my whips, because I'm trying to participate in Enchanted Stitching Challenges, the group on Facebook, which is a Facebook group that's based around the Disney universe, and every month they choose a different movie to watch, and then they have challenges based on the movie for you to complete, and then you're on a team, and the teams compete for imaginary prizes, right? So that's been kind of fun, and I've been trying to get into that, but I've been using my whip catalog so I can kind of scan through and see, you know, what might fit a prompt, because even though I have a large amount of projects, you know, I've still been having problems finding whips that match the prompts. That's hard to imagine, right? You do have to get creative with it to try to come up with it. But that is definitely another goal for this year, is to try to organize myself around the weekly and the monthly stitching challenges for that group, so that I can have fun picking through my whips and working on them a little bit, and also really work on the plans I have for finishing. So last year, if you haven't seen my planning video from last year, I'll put a link over there again, okay? I participated in the Stitch 9 challenge, or at least I said I did. I only finished three of the 9 goals that I had set for myself. So this year I wanted to do something a little bit smaller, you know, something that was really attainable, or not. So, you know, I picked 3 things that are really just goals for this year, and if I get distracted by anything else, that's okay. But as long as I do these 3 things and complete these 3 projects, I figured I would be happy with that. You know, even if I have a bunch of other little finishes throughout the year sprinkled in there to break it up, that would be fine too, you know, but I'm not heading for a large number of finishes. I'm trying to focus on the projects I have. That's the focus for 2020. So, my very first project that I'm going to show you is a gift from my aunt. I've talked about it before and I've shown it before, but I'm continuing to make progress on it, and that is my, it's called Greyhound number 2 by YiotasXStitch, and I've completely finished the top page now. Okay. It looks great. I love it. You know, I'm very easily impressed for the most part with my stitching, you know, but I can't believe that at one point I started, you know, last year with just an eyeball, and I've got this whole top of this dog head. So I'm down to 1/3 or less on the bottom. So it's definitely, you know, that's my first big goal for this year, is to finish this for my aunt. Her birthday's in February. It's not going to be finished by then, and I'm not sure when the next time I'll see her exactly will be, but it's turning out great. It's on 36 count bramble from Picture This Plus. So it's been interesting to swap out Ada that was in the kit for a linen, but it looks very, you know, it's great. And I've said this before also, that, you know, if you're just getting into full coverage stitching or trying to find out if you like it, you know, a grayscale or a similarly colored project is a really good place to start. This is only 15 or 20 colors. So, yeah, I like it. Yeah, no, this, you know. So that will be a finish for 2020, okay? So my next finish I've had going on since I think February 2017. So this will be the 3rd year that it's been around, and it's really time to finish it up. In fact, I stitched 2020 in there for the date already. And that is His Eyes on the Sparrow, which I took off the Q-snaps to show you, to get a good look where I am at the beginning of the year. So the plan is to finish it up this year, and so here is what it looks like right now. It's getting pretty big. My Stitch 9 goal for last year was to finish the top half, which I didn't quite. I don't know if that's considered half or not. It's really close. You know, I've extended into the bottom. I've started the tree some in there, and but yeah, it's gorgeous. I'm doing it 1/2 on some linen that came from Vicki Clayton's shop. So it's okay. Like I said, it's really floppy, and it was really hard to iron, for example. You know, I do like Zweigart linen better, I guess, but this turned out, I think, a perfect color. I'm gonna zoom in just a little bit so you can see some of the details on what I've been working on. This is where I'm at. I'm doing the words as charted, so that should be pretty. But I've just got to finish up this last part on page 4, and then I plan to go back down and go back to this page on the next one. So that is also a planned finish for 2020, which I think I can do, but you know, there's a lot of people working on it, and which is good, but you know, I don't know if anyone has the same issue. Whenever you see something stitched over and over again, it kind of takes my steam away from my own project. So staying off social media might be another goal for 2020. No, I'm not going to do that, but maybe not seeing it so stitched so much will, you know, avoiding looking at it while I'm trying to stitch it will help me. I don't know. So my last video that I put out was sort of a guide for getting started on Pattern Keeper app, and this has really revitalized me for heaven and earth designs and full coverage stitching. You know, it's taken it really has taken it to where it was almost a chore, to the point where it's just as enjoyable as stitching any type of cross-stitching project, you know, a sampler or whatever. You know, I feel like with the Pattern Keeper, when it's right up there, well, anyway, last year I had started a Stitch in Time, okay? Alright, let me start over. Let me start this part over, okay? My husband and I have been on this discussion about what's going to be like the biggest, most ambitious project of our lifetime. You know, what's our lifetime project? You know, and based on everything that I had said and that I, you know, have started, I said to him, well, that's got to be a stitch in time, you know, because that's the biggest cross stitch project I have. The full size Hade is over 725 stitches by like 550 stitches. I mean, it's just huge, you know. But I love it. I love all the scenes. I love all the colors. I'll put a picture so you can see what it is. And it's from Heaven and Earth Designs. And I just love it. You know, I'm not sick of it yet. I've seen a few people stitch it, you know, but it's not the kind of thing that people stitch all the time. So anyway, so I said, oh, that's my project of my lifetime. And I'm never going to start anything bigger than that. That would just be insane. But I hadn't sat down and figured out how long or that it would take me to finish it, or what pace I need to be going, you know what I mean, to finish it. So I went through Pattern Keeper and went through all my page breaks, and I did some calculations, and I discovered that if I stitch one page per year, starting now, I'm 36, and finish one page per year, I would not finish this project in my lifetime. So if I stitch 2 pages per year, I would be scheduled to finish a stitch in time by the time I'm in my mid-60s, right? So it would be finished, but I wouldn't have a whole lot of time to enjoy it, I guess. So I went through again and tried to just, you know, find out if I stitch 3 pages a year, you know, how would that improve my odds? And if I stitch 3 pages a year, I would have it finished, should have it finished before I turn 53. Okay, so we're getting down there now. Now, if I stitch 4 pages a year, I worked it out and looked it over and over again, and I would be on track to finish it when I am 49. Okay, so that is 13 years. That's 13 years from now, and then that would give me an extra year, a grace period to finish it. So my goal now is to stitch it and finish it by the time I turn 50. Doesn't that sound great? You know, but in order to reach that goal, I have to stay on track and stitch 4 pages a year, okay? Which is 1 page every 3 months, which with Pattern Keeper app, I feel like it's totally doable. So I wanted to show you, I'm going to show a little segment about what I've been working on with a stitch in time with Pattern Keeper over the last few days, and I'm going to talk about that right now. So I'll put that in here. So this is where I'm at on a stitch in time, and it is being stitched on 22 count Hardanger with 1 strand of CXC brand floss. And at first I was parking, you know, traditionally in a 10 by 10 block, and this created a lot of excess threads all through here. I'm going to show you a picture of where I was just a couple of days ago, and I haven't added any additional thread. I haven't added any additional colors since then. I've just been working through my parked threads to try to work out any, there was a few just redundant threads that did need to be there. There was a couple incorrectly parked threads, and I was able to just stitch a lot more intuitively and follow the path that I could see highlighted ahead on my Pattern Keeper app. So yes, this is the regular size, regular color version of a stitch in time, and you know, like I've said, my personal goal is to try to stitch 4 pages a year, 1 page a season. You know, if I can do that, I will be on track to finish this project on my schedule. So, so far it's going great. Like I said, to just being able to clear out those parked threads, and I've still got to go through these up here before I start adding more thread. But the confetti in this one is killer, but I'm telling you, with Pattern Keeper, it's almost enjoyable. So right now I have gotten 2,453 stitches recorded in here out of a total of 375,000. Is that correct? 375,550 stitches total. So good luck with that, Stephanie, right? So that's about all I am really committing to for 2020 at this point. You know, there's going to be a lot more because I really am the kind of stitch what I want kind of stitcher, you know, and you know, I still have a lot of other projects that I'd like to work on and hopefully finish along the way. But I don't want to make any major, just set a goal for a number of finishes. I just have those 3 project goals in mind, and you know, just I want to check in with those, you know, over the year. So I've enjoyed seeing everyone's plan and whip parade videos, and I'm excited to see what 2020 is going to bring here on Flosstube. But it's about time to wrap it up, so I just wanted to say thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.